Welcome back to How to Battle. Today I want to talk about Rule 4 of my upcoming book, and that's solitary growth. The art of solitary growth and actively putting yourself in a situation where you are alone so that you can work on yourself and that you can grow. When I was in prison, being alone was some of the most powerful moments that I've ever experienced. It was during the alone time when I was in solitary confinement that I was able to transform my life. Just being able to really just focus and concentrate and work on myself every day, have conversations with the books I was reading, have conversation with myself, have conversations with God, and being able to truly reflect on my life and where I wanted to go, envisioning everything, writing everything down, drawing everything. And had I not been alone, and had I been distracted by other people, other situations, everyday life, that would have never happened. And so out here in the world where everything is moving so quick, you have to actively set time to where you get that alone time, to where you can be alone with your thoughts, whether that's you get up earlier in the morning when everybody's asleep and get that alone time in. That's vital for a man in this world. If you want to be an effective man, if you want to be a high operating man in this world, you need to have alone time to reflect, to write, to process, to journal, to meditate, to pray, to just think, right? To just try to figure out what your next move is, to contemplate on that, to think about all the different perspectives and scenarios of the decisions you make. And so it's such a huge thing to create that silent time, that moment where you can just be in solitude and work on yourself. And so look for opportunities like retreats, look for opportunities to just get away, even if it's just a couple of times a week. It's a powerful experience. It literally transformed my life. And to this day, I do it every day. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning just to make sure that I have a couple of hours of just me time, just so that I can read and really reflect and think about my next move and go over my goals and pray, meditate, and just focus on myself. And it's sacrifice. I mean, I would love to be able to sleep in later, but I know that that's so important in me being the best man I could be, the best version of myself. And so if you want to be a better man, find that solitude time to where you can work on yourself. And here are some ways you can get that going. One way to get started for sure is just schedule it. Right? Start using a schedule, start using your calendar, and look for a time within your week that you can schedule that alone time, and start 15, 20, 30 minutes and move your way up if you can. You're never too busy to find that alone time. You just have to be able to look for it and schedule it. Next thing you want to do is to create a dedicated space. Have a space in mind in advance that you can go to. And like I said, depending on where you live, you might be able to go on a retreat. You might be able to go off into your backyard. You might have an office space. There may be time when it's just you alone. Find that dedicated space and note that that's where you're going to go when your time comes to be alone. And then once you get to that dedicated space, mitigate distractions. Turn your phone off. Make sure that there's nobody around. Make sure there's nobody that's going to enter the room and disturb you. You have to be intentional when you're creating this silent space. You have to put all the distractions away, put your phone down, and focus in, write stuff down, read, think, analyze, meditate, and cut yourself off from the world for a little bit of time, and you'll have a powerful change and experience. And during the process, when you're doing this, keep a journal. Document how you're feeling, what's going on, what you're thinking, so that later on when you don't have time to be alone, you can reflect back on that journal and look to see things that you've come up with, things that come to mind. I mean, I used to write down things that I would read in magazines and books and what people would tell me, and I still do to this day. I'll write those things down, and then every day I'll go back and look at my journal, because sometimes we go through life, we forget stuff. Ideas, if you're a creator, people tell you things you can't remember, write it down. Write in your journal when you get that moment to be alone, because you can go back and reflect on that. And so step into your solitude time. Create that solitary time. I'm telling you, if you want to be a better man, if you want to be better in business, if you want to transform your life, if you want to be able to work better with people, you need to have a moment alone to reflect and to figure out who you are. We spend so much of our life trying to figure out our business, trying to figure out the company we work for, trying to figure out everybody else but us. You should have dedicated time every day to try to figure out who you are, what you want, what your desires and dreams are, right? What you need to work on. What's going on in your brain? What creative ideas do you have? Take time each day to focus on you, and it'll transform your life. So find that solitary time. That rule 4 is so important. And I think that every man should implement that for the rest of their life. making time for self, because ultimately it's going to help you become better for others. Thank you. I'll be back next week with the next rule of my upcoming book, Warrior in the Garden, Rule 5 coming up next week. So tune in and I'll be back with that. And until then, peace.